Hi everyone, this is Emily with the Free Family. Each week we're going to be bringing you a video on different topics that are helpful to RVers and people who are traveling. This week we're going to be talking about how to pick the RV that's right for you. And for each person, the RV that's right for you will be a different kind than someone else because it all depends on your needs, largely on how far are you traveling, what are you using it for, are you full-timing or are you only going to be heading out on trips in it, how many beds do you need, how many people are going to be staying in there. Those are all things to think about. But first off, for those who are new to RVing, I'll give you a quick rundown of the different kinds of RVs that there are. A motorhome, or one that you drive, there's a few different kinds of RVs that you drive. When people say motorhome, they're usually talking about Class A RVs, which are the kind with the flat front. They're usually around 30 to 40 feet, but they can be all different lengths. Class C's are the kind that are like a medium-sized RV with the cab that goes over the front, so there's a bed over the driver's seat. Class B's are the van type, so they're smaller, easier to maneuver. Then you have the travel trailers, and those are just the trailers that you pull behind a truck. Fifth wheels have a special kind of hitch that goes in the truck, and they're usually pretty large and heavier and big inside, nice big ceilings, and have a little more space in there and take a dually truck or a large truck to pull. So those are the different kind of RVs we'll be talking about. We'll also cover a little bit about tent campers, which are the pop-up kind that have the soft-sided canvas sides. So I'll cover a little bit about each of those, some pros and cons, and mostly we know about the motorhome because that's what we have. We started out with a Coachman Murata 34B, which is a bunkhouse, 35-foot Class A motorhome, and we're very happy with our decision on this motorhome. When we were first looking at RVs, we thought that we wanted a fifth wheel, and then we looked into how much it was going to cost for us to get a truck that was big enough to pull it because we didn't have that already, and plus to get a fifth wheel it would have cost just as much, if not more, to get our motorhome. Then we found the motorhome that had the bunk beds in it, and so that kind of sealed the deal, and we decided to go with the motorhome. We ended up being very happy that we did for multiple reasons. Our motorhome is gas. If it had been diesel, that would have been optimal, but we're happy with the gas motorhome and it made it more affordable, and it's been really good to us. We've been using it for a year and it's been awesome. We know that we picked the right RV for us, and having the bunk beds in there with the small kids, their room is close to ours. I'll give you guys an RV tour soon so you can see how our RV is laid out. But their bedroom being close to ours is perfectly fine while they're little. It's nice to have them close. And if we had a fifth wheel, it would have been nice because the bedrooms would have been on opposite sides. So that could be a plus or minus either way you look at it, and depending on how old your kids are, that could make a difference. But that's one thing we like about the motorhome. We also like how well it's made. We like that it came with a really nice generator, so that's always ready to go for us when we're out dry camping. The motorhome makes it really easy to dry camp in because it's an easy push of the button to turn on the generator and push of the button to bring down the leveling jacks. So when we're inside, if it's raining or anything like that, we just push the buttons, are ready to go. And we also have pretty big tanks that can be smaller on travel trailers and things like that if you're going out boondocking, so it lasts us longer to dry camp with bigger tanks. But some of the fifth wheels also have even bigger tanks than us, but that is something to consider if you're going to be wanting to dry camp. You're going to want to make sure you have a generator, and that's something that you can buy, but they can be expensive, and usually when you buy one you have to go outside to turn it on, which who wants to do that? I'm just kidding, it's not a big deal, but it's nice to have. Travel trailers aren't often made as well as motorhomes. They're just making them so quickly these days that we hear of a lot of people having issues with even brand new travel trailers. So that's another thing you want to look at when you're looking at buying new or used travel trailers or motorhomes. It's often better, we've heard, and we agree from our experience so far, to buy an RV that's a couple years old that someone else has worked the kinks out of and maybe done a little bit of remodeling on or fixed some issues or had some warranty work done. So buying a couple years used is what we have heard to do. We like that we have a small tow car. We have a small Honda Civic that we tow, so it's really good on gas. So we take our motorhome to where it's going to be, it sits there, then we drive our tow car around and get good gas mileage with that. Our car is pretty old, and it broke down the other day when we were getting ready to pull out of a campground. Instead of having to call a tow truck, we just got the car up onto our tow dolly and we're able to tow it to the mechanic to have it worked on. So we always have 2 engines, which means we have 2 engines to take care of, but also having gas engines, that's a little bit cheaper, and gas is a little bit cheaper that way, and it's a lot cheaper in our small tow car, and we're able to tow that car if we need to, or if we had to leave our car somewhere and just drive the motorhome to get somewhere else, we could do that too. It always looks like we're home also when we have a motorhome. When you leave your travel trailer or a fifth wheel, it's easy for people to tell that your car's not there and that nobody may be there. You never know, but when you're in a motorhome, it just looks like you're there whether you are or not. I've heard people ask if a tent trailer would be okay for traveling full-time in, and my opinion is no, and most people who I hear travel full-time, it is no. And I heard of someone recently trying it out with their husband who was wary of full-time travel, and he said no way after being in a tent trailer, because though they are affordable, they don't protect you from the elements very well. So there's been many times where we've been out and about, and if the weather's really bad or it's cold, which in most places we've been, even if it's warm in the day, it's cold at night, you're not going to have that protection like you do in a hard-sided trailer. And really traveling in a tent trailer is not an option for more than small trips here and there, but it's really nice for those because they're easy to pack up and go. And some of the benefits of the fifth wheel that I was talking about earlier is the size. The fifth wheels are just really nice inside, nice big ceilings, but with that comes something large that you're towing. So maneuverability could be a little more difficult. Sometimes they're really tall and you have to watch bridges even more than we do. So that's another thing to think about. Also, that you have to have a very large truck, and it's very important to make sure that your truck is the right towing capacity for your fifth wheel or your travel trailer, because it's very easy for a travel trailer to spin out of control if you don't have the weight in your truck that you need to pull it. It's also easy to blow your transmission or mess up your engine if you're pulling something that's too big. Even we've seen people with small cars pulling travel trailers, or we know that with our GMC SUV that we had before, we could have only pulled something that was 3,000 pounds. That's a very small trailer, and if we would have started traveling in that, we would not have liked it. So we know we made the right decision to spend a little bit more, get the motorhome, tow the small car. That just ended up working out well for us, whereas if we would have tried to just see what our GMC could pull, it wasn't much. And a lot of smaller trucks too, we've seen, can't pull much. So really, you have to really check what they can tow, check how much your trailer and your fifth wheel weigh with everything inside, and then see if your truck can pull that. And diesels are best, of course, for pulling things. So with a bigger RV comes a harder time pulling that RV, and sometimes a harder time finding places to park that RV. Not always, but we have gotten into a couple spots that we wouldn't have been able to get into if we were over 35 feet, and we're just at that 35 feet mark. So for us, 35 feet was what we were looking for, and it has been a benefit to us because we found some state parks and national parks where we wouldn't have been able to get in if we were any bigger. There's also been times where 35 feet has been too big, and if we had been under 30 feet or under 25 feet, then we would have got a spot when we couldn't otherwise, but that hasn't happened often. But it is something that does happen, so that's another thing to think about when you're thinking about how long do I actually want my RV. 35 and under is a good place to be. 30 and under, even better, just opens up more spaces for you. If you want a really large RV, you just have to think about pulling it, parking it. You know, when I think about how to back in a travel trailer, I would not be able to do that without a lot of practice, but backing in the motorhome, I can probably do, though I don't want to do it anytime soon. But if I really need to, it's like backing up a car, so that's a little bit easier. It's also important to think about your price range and what's best for that. You don't want to overdo it, or that can bring an early end to your trip if you can't afford the rig that you got. So considering your needs, your price range, and really looking into and researching the pros and cons of each kind of RV is important. It's always pretty easy to change if you really need to, but it's nice to have the information up front. I hope that what I shared today helps you and that you're able to take away some extra knowledge. And if you have any information about the RV you set out in, or the reason why you picked what you did, your pros and cons of the different types of RVs that I talked about, we would love to hear it. So let us know about the type of RV you chose, type of RV you switched to, type of RV you wish you had. We'd love to hear from you guys, and we'd love to hear you share your knowledge as well. I'm going to link below our blog post on this also. There's a little bit more information there and things to think about there. So have a great day and see you guys soon.